I've grown closer to God as I've learned just how much He cares about how we preach of Him through our art. This really great young man agreed to model for a scene where Christ heals someone. And we took all of these pictures because if we go through this whole process, we have to borrow the motion picture studio's costumes and get everybody in and stick them in front of a sheet, and we're taking pictures, and it takes a long time. And so while we're doing this, the handhold that was going on between the Savior and this young man, the Spirit said, that's not right. I vocalized it, we made some changes. But then it still wasn't right because this young man now had a better grip on the Savior and the Savior on him, but the young man was facing forward. And suddenly the Spirit says, you know, you need to turn that man away from the viewer. Now my first thought was, why didn't you tell me that the same time you mentioned the other aspect? That would have been so much easier to do it all at once, because now we've returned everything. But he was insistent that we turn that young man. And so we went through all of the process to do that. And I remember the moment when we completed that panel for the first time and we put it up so that we could look at it. And I began realizing in that moment what the Spirit had seen that I didn't necessarily see. When he said turn it, I was like, why? You know, the handhold got that one, but why turn him? I looked at this experience happening, and I realized that with the young man's face turned away from me, I felt naturally inclined to walk towards and get closer to see what was happening. By turning him, it opened the Savior's arm, and it allowed a space for me to walk in. And when I arrived at the young man, I turned around and I looked up at what he was looking at, and I found myself looking into the face of my Savior. And the Spirit said, Gayle, this window was never to be about this young man's healing. It was to be about yours and every one of my children who has the opportunity to stand and look at it. And to realize we didn't know that as designers. You totally could have portrayed the young man as this is his moment and how blessed for him. But the Lord wanted to teach the individual.